12 exams. Look how bougie this jacket is. Be flexible. Hello everyone. Before we hop into this video, I just want to recognize that this past month has been wild for growth of this channel. So at the time that I'm recording this, I have 989 subscribers, and so for my 1,000 mark, which is a big deal for me, I want to do a Q&A. So if you have questions that you'd like to ask for the Q&A, drop them in the comments. You can also ask questions about this video, but if you want your questions in the Q&A, make sure you drop them below or go to my Instagram and DM me. Instagram is AllieBonBon. Cool. Enjoy the video. Wow, is this just such an unlikely sight? Look how bougie this jacket is. Okay. Hello everyone. In this video, I want to talk about how my study habits have changed so far from undergrad to medical school, and kind of reflect on my first month as a medical student because it is coming to a close right now. So I've been at Vanderbilt Medical School as an M1 for 1 month now, and it has been probably the longest month of my life, and also has gone by so fast. So far in medical school, I have finished one block, which is Foundations of the Profession, and I am halfway through the second block, which is Human Blueprint and Architecture, which is where basically we're just going over all of the things that we learned in undergrad at full speed ahead, and also like sprinkling in some diagnosis and anatomy and histology and all kinds of new and exciting and fun and time-consuming things. All the things about med school. So just as like a general reflection of how things are going, I think my mindset right now is that the material that we're learning is not necessarily difficult, but the volume of the material that we are learning makes the not so difficult material difficult. It's a lot. It's so much stuff at all times, and I feel like I'm running on all cylinders constantly, and I think that that's something that I'll probably have to be very intentional about as med school progresses, is making sure that I'm taking care of myself and taking time to take care of my mental health, because it's so easy to get caught up in all the work that can be done and not figure out what work needs to be done, what's very urgent, and what needs your attention and what doesn't. So I know the analogy of the fire hose is very common, where they're just spewing so much information at you and you're drinking from a fire hose and just like trying so hard to absorb the information necessary, but you literally cannot drink it all. So you just have to pick and choose what's important, and I think that's been really tough for me, is letting go of needing to know everything, because you're not going to be perfect, you're not going to know everything, you can't, and that's tough for me. And it makes me feel like I'm not going to be an effective doctor, but already we've shown, like yesterday we diagnosed our first patients and we did fine. So it's not like we're not going to know things, it's just like figuring out what's important and how to utilize the knowledge and the space in your brain the most effectively. That's been fun. As far as study habits go, I think I mentioned this in a video before. I didn't think I was going to have to change my study habits at all in med school, which was very naive of me. I thought for sure that because I'm efficient and because I know how to focus, and I took the MCAT and all these different things, I know how to study, which is true, I do know how to study, but I don't know how to study in medical school. I am lost and afraid, and everybody is lost and afraid. And it goes back to the fire hose statement, where it's like, you cannot study the way that you studied in undergrad probably, because you have to learn the amount of material that's on an undergrad exam in a week, and then quiz 3 times over it on a weekend, and then start over with a new exam, and then take the accumulated knowledge from either six undergrad exams in one exam, or 12 exams at once. Let me tell you, so far, it's only been a month, I am still adjusting. I do not know what I'm doing. So far, I have learned that I cannot do things the way that I've done them before, which would be taking notes and then making topic lists over those notes and then expanding on the important topics by hand. That's not feasible, unfortunately. It's the most effective for knowing a lot of things, but I think if I were to do that, I would have to pare down a lot on the topic list and again, just like give up wanting to know everything. So what I tried this week, which seemed to be kind of effective for keeping up with material, was I still handwrite my notes, and then every night for about 20 minutes, I will transcribe my notes and choose the most important concepts and rewrite them on a Google Doc or on a Word document, however you choose to do it. Condense the notes and write the most important things and kind of revisit the information. 20 minutes to summarize the whole day, and then do that every single day, and then you have a study guide. And then after that, I've been making concept maps, and so I will show you an example of a concept map. Luckily, I took a class in college that was very much fire hose information, and we had to make concept maps as an assignment, and so I'm grateful for that, I guess. But so here is a concept map that I made for our skin segment, and so on this concept map, basically this is the stuff that I think is the most important from my notes that have been condensed, and they've been condensed further onto a concept map. Most important concepts. I've revisited those concepts multiple times. I've seen the tiny details multiple times as well, but keeping in mind like the overall things that I need to know and that I can apply things to, and having a basic understanding of the topic at hand is very helpful, because then those little tiny details are just like, you can plug them in. So this concept map has been super helpful. I took my quizzes today and I felt like I really understood the histology a lot better than I did last week, and that's because I made this concept map. There was one question on the quiz and I wrote next to one question, I'm like, it's a good thing you did that concept map, because you wouldn't have got this question right if you didn't. Yeah, so that's just like a general update of how studying is going for me right now. It's been a bit of a struggle. I will do a separate video on imposter syndrome because it's so real, and I'm sure everybody will tell you that, but perhaps a one-on-one account of that would be like a helpful thing for you to hear, because let me tell you, I can't even put my finger on why I feel like I shouldn't be here, but there's like once a day probably or more, I'm like, I don't belong here. They're gonna kick me. They're gonna find me out and kick me out of this university. The joys of medical school. We're all figuring it out together, and nobody knows what they're doing. And if you are pre-med, you probably will have to change the way that you study, but that's okay. The way that you're studying in undergrad is probably what's helpful in undergrad. Med school is just very different. So there's just too much information to do it probably the way that you're doing it now. So just be ready for change, everybody. Just be flexible. And with that, I will leave you to ponder the rest of your life as it unfolds before you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was semi-helpful for you, and if you have any questions or any video recommendations, feel free to leave them in the comments. Give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to follow along the med school journey. That's all for now. I'll see you next time. Bye!